Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction and read through for Tower of God, Urek Mazino, Episode 5. I am extremely excited because I mentioned before, just talking about the spinoff in general, going into it I really wasn't sure what to think. I didn't really have much of an idea of what the actual structure or anything of the story was going to be, but I was going into it like, hey, I don't really know what I'm gonna get, but my goal, as always, is just to have fun with it, share my reaction with all of you and everything. But little did I know that I would be having this much fun with it. I think it's been very fun so far. I've actually loved it so far. I really think that not only, I think a big part of it is the freshness, just because these are new characters, a new story set within a familiar world to us. So because of that, the freshness, that's going to be there, the novelty of it all. But also on top of that, I just think the story structure works. Much like it did for early Tower of God, I feel like the structure with the tests and the test directors and everything, it's just a structure that works really well for the story. And yeah, I think it's been great. On top of that, the art's been very good. I like what they've done with some of the paneling decisions and like the colored text boxes and stuff. And the characters, the new characters that we have had, we don't even have names for many of them yet, but I have really liked these characters. I think Urek is great here. I love seeing this younger, more inexperienced version of him. And again, Evelyn's my favorite so far, I think. I love the weenie. I keep calling him that because we don't have a name yet. I'm almost gonna be sad when we do get a name. Last time, also, I was looking at some of the names in Korean, and for some reason, I read Neo's name as Neyo. Why was I throwing a yo? Why was I throwing in like a Y sound in there? I have no idea what I was doing, but as I was watching back editing, I was like, oh my god, dies of cringe. I was like, what am I doing? So it is just Neo in Korean for his name. So there's that. I'm trying to think, is there anything else to say before we continue? Oh yeah, I guess this chapter is called Position Training. It says it up there at the top. Kind of getting spoiled on the title by the title itself. So we had a hint at Crown Game at the end of last chapter, but it seems like we're going to do position training before Crown Game this time, and that's probably because we have to go through the Cuckoo's test, because the Cuckoos have to replace someone by the time that the next test starts. So I guess by the time that the Crown Game starts, they're going to have to replace somebody on a team. And I'm assuming, so I was thinking, so can the three of them just replace a full team of three if they want to? But given that they're being called Cuckoos, it kind of makes me think, okay, it has to be one of them replacing one on a team. So is the poor weenie gonna get taken out so the princess can replace him? The princess is going to be trying to replace Urek, but we know it's literally named after him. That's not happening. Is Neo going to be some sort of red herring, and Neo tries to betray them, but then gets defeated and then replaced with the princess so that they have a full three-person team? How's it going to go in that respect? But yeah, also one of the things people bringing up with cuckoos and everything, like I mentioned in last week's reaction, where I was like, oh yeah, cuckoo birds. The thing is, they lay their eggs in another bird's nest, and then the babies are born, and they kick the, biological babies out and are raised by the birds, who I guess are not, they're bird-brained enough to just raise these chicks that are very clearly not theirs. And that's generally the way that cuckoos work. And I love that, myself, anybody else who learns about cuckoo birds, like anytime you see like something talking about nature and they explain how those work, everybody has the same realization. Everybody always goes, huh, so that's where that word comes from. So with all of that aside, let's start reading and discussing as we go through. But I wanted to talk a bit about like the Crown Game stuff, what I think about the tests going on, all of that before we get into it. Make my predictions or thoughts beforehand. So this is called Position Training, and we're starting with the title splash. We see this cool cruise ship, this yacht-looking floating ship pulling up to the floating castle. The dock for floating ships. Whoa, not too bad. Alright. Looks like our next test is going to be on that bad boy. So I wonder if the ones we saw with Rahab before, like all the, people that were just standing around on the rocks aura farming, I wonder if all of those people are going to be the position test instructors. This is so cool. I've never been on a floating ship before. The inner tower is such an amazing place. Listen up. Alright, and we have some silhouettes. Regulars. Who the hell are they? We have a dog man? Okay, this is the chick that was with the first test director at the end of last week's chapter. We have a guy dressed as a superhero. I love the complexity of the designs. Also, Gisley is still there. Isn't it obvious? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's going to be the 5 of them. Let's see. Let's try to throw out some predictions. He is beefy and bulky, but he was in a lighthouse before, so I'm going to say Lightbearer Trainer is going to be the big guy that we saw before. I don't remember if we got a name. We did get a name. He was Ranjon? Something like that. Ranjon? Something like that. And then Gisley was seemingly an anima. Maybe she's wave controller? So maybe Lightbearer wave controller. The one in the dress. Then again, she isn't really dressed like you would imagine a scout to be dressed. So maybe she is the Lightbearer wave controller. What even is left? Unless she's like just a wild out of nowhere spear bearer. The dog with the pipe. I don't know what kind of vibes he gives me. And then there's the little guy dressed as a superhero. He kind of gives me scout vibes, but I think it'd be a little funny if he were the fisherman instructor. That would make him Urek's instructor. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make a crazy call here. The one in the dress is going to be the fisherman instructor. Like, we've actually seen a lot of fishermen who are just, attractive women. So I feel like that kind of works. Then he has a lightning bolt on it. So I'm actually going to say spear bearer. And then scout is the dog guy. Okay, those are my predictions. They're the test directors? It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Rahab, the head director of this test. You've earned the right to be here. Huh. Is he the boss of this whole place? Also, the guy with the lightning bolt thing, he isn't the guy who shot a random, Yeah, none of these are the ones who killed the random guy, right? None of them look like that guy. I thought he had light hair. So these are not him. You earned the right to be here. Huh. Is he the boss of this whole place? By going through two brutal tests, you should all be proud of your abilities as you persevere through the other tests in your path. Now, you will be boarding the cruiser-class ship that's docked before you. So, you can fly to several different locations in the floor of tests for your future tests. Once you pass the test that'll be administered at the ship's final destination, you will become true regulars and embark on the long glorious journey of climbing the tower. Wealth, glory, power, strength, and the ultimate truth await. Go forth and seize the honor of walking the same path as King Zahard and the heads of the 10 great families. And then everyone cheers. Honestly, though, to narrow them down, how many passed? Didn't like 15 or 16 pass Bomb's final exam? And we're already down to 30 here with Urek. Let's see. Hold on. This is going to be one of those Kubera moments. My videos might not be for everybody. So let's have one of those moments. Let's see if I can name who all passed the final examination in Tower of God. Oh, maybe I was thinking of 16 because I think final examination... No, maybe final examination's only 12 chapters long. Okay, final examination. Who passed? There was obviously... Bomb is questionable, but we're just counting who participated in the final exam. So You had, I mean, I guess if I counted off positions, it would make it much easier to remember. Should I do it that way? But there was, I guess I am going to do it that way because now my brain is thinking that direction. I was going to name it by like trios or whatever. But wave controllers, there was just Bomb and Luray, correct? Then spear bearers in the finale, you had spear bearers, you had Paracule, Rack. There's no way it was just Paracule and Rack. I think it is because Paracule, Rack, and Akryung passed, but Akryung didn't participate in final examination. So I think it was just Paracule and Rack as spear bearers in the final exam. So that's only 4 characters so far. Then for light bearers, there were only supposed to be 2 passing, but we got 3 because Rachel was kind of weird. You got Rachel, Levin, and Kun. Then for scouts, you had Sunwonare, Shibisu, and Hatsu. So you had 3 of those. That takes us to 10 overall. And then for fishermen, we had Chunhwa. I almost got tricked there by the anime. I was about to say freaking Dede Kancho. No, you had Chunhwa, Blarouz, Anak, and Andrasi. I think it was just those 4. So 14 people then passed the final exam for Bomb. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody because I said there was Bomb-kun Rack plus Rachel plus Andrasi, then Shibisu, Anak, and Hatsu, that trio. Then we had the duo of Sunwonare and Chunhwa. Then the only member of his team remaining, Luray. And then the final 3 were Paracule, Blarouz, and Levin. So yeah, 14 passed the original Season 1 floor of tests. And we're already down to 30 here for Urek. So continuing on, this is just one of those moments like where I was like, hold on, can I name this from memory all the time in the Kubera videos? So make sure to get a ticket at the gate before you board. Do not lose your ticket. We'll be checking them at 12 o'clock every day. Form a single file line, please. Urek notices something? There are some weird fish. There's somebody with a hood up. In the mix. The lobby of the cruise. Whoa. This is so cool. I've never seen anything like it before. I kind of wish we were silhouetting less of them and kind of getting an establishment of what the 30 looked like so we could kind of keep track of them getting eliminated. It's pretty fancy. Sorry, I got pretty fancy, alright. Sorry, I just ate and coming to record this after dinner. Welcome aboard the cruise, regulars. And we have these 5. My name is Danjon. I was saying Ranjon, right? Danjon would be his name. Danjon. And from here on forth, I'll be in charge as your test director. You'll stay on this cruise and undergo your position training. This guy again. Brother, this guy stinks. During the time you have in between your tests. Sorry, hang on. Just testing something. Okay, sorry. You'll be trained according to your positions during this test, and a midterm evaluation will be conducted by the test director assigned to your position. Those who receive high scores will get special benefits, but those given a failing grade will be disqualified regardless of the actual test results. So they can disqualify us? It feels weird to do this after splitting into teams of 3. In the original, doing the Crown game made sense because the Crown game required teams of 3, and also the Leroro and Yuhansung tests kind of, went around that, where you needed the luck of getting proper teammates, and then also you needed to be able to trust your teammates, things like that. But it feels weird because if somebody fails their position test, then their 2 teammates are a little bit screwed. So it kind of feels weird to do something at an individual level here. Even though it is kind of the same, you need to have found good teammates, but I hope you get my point. And then, so they can disqualify us even if we pass the tests? What even is a position? Your position refers to your specific role within a team. They originate from the roles the heads of the great families took on while climbing the tower. The scout is positioned near the front lines, observing enemy movements and stirring up the battlefield. And we're getting these cool symbols for all of them? That's neat. The lighthouse keeper stays in the very rear so they can analyze the battle as a whole and issue commands. The spear bearer works with the lighthouse keeper and eliminates enemies from a distance. The wave controller manipulates Shinsu, the very foundation of the tower, and strikes fear into the enemy with their overwhelming power. Then there's the angler who works alone, going wherever they're needed to reel in their enemies and hunt them. So this, I'm interested if they are purposefully doing different names, because back then the positions had different names than they do in Bomb's time, or if this is an issue where whoever they have translating this hasn't even read the original Tower of God. So it's like they have somebody translating this who hasn't even read the original. So even though the original isn't always super consistent with its terminology, the terminology is just thrown out here. I actually don't mind calling fisherman angler, even though fisherman, I think, it's what I'm used to. It maybe sounds better. And I actually personally like changing light bearer to lighthouse keeper because it makes it sound more unique. Because before you had the spear bearer and the light bearer. Both of them, have a single syllable and then bearer. And then the other three were more unique names. But this makes it so that all 5 names sound a bit more unique. So I actually do not mind calling them lighthouse keepers instead of light bearers. But I feel like angler, fisherman, I don't know how I'm feeling about changing that one. Unless, of course, like I said, it could just be totally on purpose because they had different names back then. Of course, there are many other positions out there, but those 5 are the most common ones. It's interesting that you didn't know about this. You must come from a very remote village. I wanted to explain it to him. A remote village? Yeah, something like that. Now, I'm going to introduce... Again, Neo's design being so detailed and stuff too... I am so curious what the backstory here is going to be. Now I'm going to introduce the test directors who will be assigned to each position as your mentors. Okay, Baskerville will be mentoring the wave controllers. Can I go 0 for 5? Hold on. This is going to be better than seeing if I could go 5 for 5. Can I go 0 for 5? We have our first miss. Fedre will be assigned to the lighthouse keepers. Hold on, another miss. Gisley will be mentoring the Animon scouts. That's a triple miss. Heidi here will be teaching the spearers. We have the quad miss. Last but not least, the mentor for the anglers will be me. And then, okay, of course, he's going to probably end up with Urek because Urek's going to be fisherman. So, spearbearer, scout, I guess animal works as scout. Of course, in the first animal we saw really was a scout, at least the first regular anima. Then, lighthouse keeper and wave controller. Alright, that is fun. I did not expect that. Also, so Baskerville is easy. He's named after the Hound of Baskerville, was like a Sherlock Holmes novel. I'm not sure about his pronunciation. I'll have to look that one up in Japanese. Or not Japanese, Korean. Sorry, I'm used to manga. And then Heidi is pretty straightforward. Okay, really quick, I'm going to go bring up the Korean. I don't have it pulled up right now. And actually, this doesn't clear things up very much. Usually, the just the character that looks like a line at the bottom under the consonant is usually just a sort of, like, just kind of basically a silence, like barely a noise because there's not like a true silence. So it's kind of like puh, duh. Like, yeah, that's duh. And then re, pudere. So, you know what? I guess pudere is pedere. Is that what they They changed the p to a f. There is no f sound, just like there's no z sound really. Like J and Z are kind of interchangeable. L and R obviously interchangeable, and then another one is F and P, like Lopobia. That's all p sounds, but like Kun, Devo, Perez, or Ferez. It was translated, I think, officially as Ferez, even though it could just be Perez either way. So any time you see like a f sound in any of the regular Tower of God translations, like fug is pug in Korean, because there's no f, there's just p. So yeah. I'm not really sure what his name is supposed to be a reference to. So continuing on, he said his own part the loudest. His voice is literally echoing off the walls. We see some of the characters here. Have we seen this guy in the mask before? His design looks familiar. I like it. It looks familiar. I guess we have seen it before, yeah? He's not even going to say his name? Who knows? Maybe that's his actual name. Every regular's already been assigned to a position based on their individual skill sets. Look up here to confirm your position. Okay, so they just gave him I guess they did kind of the same thing in the original series. It was just based on what they saw in the Crown game, right? And find your mentor to receive your schedule. We have Urek Mazino as an angler. Looks like I'm an angler. No, I'm a spear bearer. I was hoping we'd end up having the same position. I don't think it's a bad thing, especially if you're teammates. You don't have 3 different positions, really. Unless you're planning to do a spear bearer revolution. I'm a wave controller. We all have different positions then. I kind of like this trio. Hold on. I think it's good to have some variety, especially since we're working together as a team. Right, that's a good point. Well, we got this. Try your best to survive. Training room for anglers. Welcome, new anglers. Once again, I am Danjon, the mentor for all anglers on this cruise. So I was kind of hoping we would get a name for the guy I've been calling the weenie, but I actually think it would be really, really, really funny if he didn't die, he stayed in Urek's team, and he just kept staying around, but they never gave him a name. So you're like 4 dozen chapters in, and Urek just then realizes, I've never actually asked your name. It would be very funny. So continuing as long as possible without giving him a name would be pretty funny. Once again, I'm Danjon, the mentor for all the anglers on this cruise. Let's skip the useless crap. All you have to know is that anglers have the best position in the tower. Basically, you're the strongest regulars, and we see the other ones in his class, so to speak. There's only 5 of them. Oh, the kid with the mask and the blue vest guy are both here. And we get the blonde kid that we've seen a little bit this chapter, and somebody new. Okay, so cool. Okay, you're the strongest regulars on this cruise, understand? That's why I will not tolerate any weaklings. The other positions will only be doing a brief orientation, but that's not good enough for us anglers. I'm going to weed out the weaklings hiding among you as soon as possible. Ready or not, I'll be putting you through an entry test today. If you fail, I'll boot you from the cruise myself. We've been seeing this guy a bunch this chapter, and now we have a panel focusing on him. I wonder, is he going to just get straight taken out immediately? Why do we have to get stuck with the old-fashioned weirdo? What is this, some kind of super secret society? This should be interesting. Let's get right to it. Come at me, then. Come at... What? He just stanced up. I don't think many people were expecting to like Danjon, but are we gonna actually like Danjon? You didn't even explain the rules. Just come at me, losers. I guess we have no other choice. I volunteer. I'll go first. I don't like the feeling of being second. Sorry. Go for it, I guess. Is he gonna get one shot? Alright, I like your spirit. Grab the loincloth before you enter the field. They have it just hanging up waiting. Loincloth. Looks more like a ribbon. Ties it on. Or it ties itself on. It's moving by itself. What the? How am I supposed to walk like this? Enough whining. Come over here. This is so freaking embarrassing. Put your hands right in there. Yes, grab it. Just like that. That's it. So, sumo fight? Now, we're ready. This is what a proper starting stance looks like. Hold on to your opponent's loincloth and straighten up, but make sure you're standing close together. Let the game begin. Gross. I don't want to touch that weirdo. Listen, regular. You better crouch and engage your legs. Huh? Instead of standing like some insolent brat. If you think you're too good, he's gonna get suplexed. If you think you're too good for that, you're going down. What? And he gets slammed. If your back comes into contact with the Shinsu on the ground, you lose. I guess it makes sense that rankers can toss people around like that. How is he so strong? What is she going to do? Is she just going to suplex Donjon? That would be incredible. Well, who's next? This is so fun. What? Nobody wants to volunteer? I said I'm... Fine, I understand you're terrified, including the one who just went. The first 3 regulars to step up will be given a second chance. I want to go then. Me too. Having a second chance is better than nothing. I guess I'll be waiting a bit more, says Urek. Not gonna join in? I refuse to fit into the rigid framework of society. I love this edgelord. Hold on. You see, I'm allergic to rules and conformity. That's great. Oh no, another weirdo. The engine room of the cruise. I love establishing a cast again. Oh my god, it's so fun. Okay, is this the princess then? I believe we've managed to sneak in unnoticed, which means we've achieved our first goal. Okay, so each of them have to replace somebody. All of the regulars were given a ticket. Okay, so they have to steal the ticket then. We're given the ticket upon boarding the cruise. If we can take a ticket from a regular and keep it past midnight, okay, because they were checking at... I thought they were checking at 12 midday every day. If we keep it past midnight, the ownership will be transferred to us, and we'll qualify for the next test. Now, let's scatter and go after our respective targets. Yes, Your Highness. Go team! I mean, they're not really a team. They're all working individually here. I heard that man Urek was assigned the position of angler. His ticket will be mine. And we have another, good panel of her here. She looks more like her own... I mean, she always looked like her own unique character, but before she kind of, you could compare her to other characters from the main series. She looked a little bit like Icarus, she looked a little bit like Ling, but here she, fully, I don't think, looks like any of the other Tower of God characters. Before the clock strikes midnight. And I don't think there's any family we're supposed to be guessing she's from, given the hair and eye color. Alright. We see those 2 were thrown down. He knocked them down like they weighed nothing. He didn't even budge, no matter what I did, thinks the guy in the mask. You're both useless. And the mask kind of reminds me of, Paul's people. It would be cool to wrap stuff like that into this, if he was one of, Paul's breed of canine people or whatever, one of Paul's faction. It was like his feet were rooted in the Shinsu. Next, is that maybe even the secret that he's using the Shinsu to keep himself planted? And they're supposed to be able to notice that and then use the Shinsu themselves in this situation? Someone's having fun. Why are you still in the field? Get out. I'm sorry. I'm trying, but I can't move my feet. Is she about to play him? Hold on now. Don't whine. There's no place for weaklings here. On your feet, now. Here, let me help. You. I'm just gonna get you up. You okay? I'm fine, thanks. And he carries her off. I thought she was going to be faking it in order to try to trick Dungeon. Then, alright, my turn now. This one should be fun to take down. It'll also be an opportunity to see the strange power he used last time. Since you showed me the power you use in here, let me show you, and he has literal aura, the one we use outside the tower. And we get cliffhung. I want so much more. I'm loving this. I love that I thought maybe they would just speed run through the position test all in one chapter. I love that this is like full detail. This is like an entire new Tower of God series with them climbing the tower and everything. I am here for Urek having teammates and passing the floor of tests test with some teammates. Even if they don't carry on the rest of the way up the tower because he goes up super quickly, or maybe he just carries his team up extremely quickly. Regardless of how it goes, I am like all for like developing this cast out like this. It's so fun. And I want to know more. I want to see the other 4 positions doing their tests. I want to see more about the other anglers. Yeah, I'm into it. Also, again, if we are changing terminology here, I don't hate angler, really. I don't know. I still think fisherman's maybe better. But if this is just a new way to translate fisherman and they're just doing angler now, I don't hate it. And I actually kind of like Lighthouse Keeper more than Light Bearer, to be real honest with you, because we already have Spear Bearer. And Lighthouse Keeper, you know, it makes it sound more unique. So, I like it. Yeah, I had a bunch of fun with this. I thought it was really, really, really good. Once again, I have been loving this spinoff. Yeah, I think every chapter has been fun so far. Been really, really, really fun. If anything, it's almost like chapter 1, the super long one with all the lore and stuff. If anything, that might be my least favorite. I've just had so much fun with the tests and the side characters again. But either way, I'm going to end things here. I'll have this video up sometime late tonight. I actually kind of want to go take a break after this because it'll be my only chance to today. And then I'll come back and edit, render, upload this. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting and everything. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's chapter, my thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. If you'd like to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks or sharing, it's very much appreciated. And if you'd like to help support the channel by becoming a member or patron, you get One Piece videos a little early, get your name at the end of videos. Though again, I recorded earlier today, and during those recordings I was like, I am so sorry. It's been over a week. I have still forgotten to update this, but I promise I will tomorrow. That is my goal, so I will update this. But thank you to members and patrons. You get your name here, you get to support the channel, you get One Piece videos early. All you gotta do is hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you so much to people who are members and patrons. Thank you to chosen regulars Evan, Holly, and Bertie Wooster, Magical Girls, Evernono, J.A., and VD-Ban, Cheriton student David Lingstaff, Slayer candidates SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Elements, Paterial, and Elsa the Storyteller. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.